Hey, creative souls, writers, word witches, story alchemists, however you like to be referred to, I'm happy that you're here. My name's Johnny. I am a published fiction writer and a retired adjunct writing professor. For 2 decades, I help college students get words on the page. Now I teach fiction writing and screenwriting to adults in custody. I call myself a word witch, and if you want to know more about what I mean by that, check out my video called On Being a Word Witch. I believe I'm on this earth to heal the world through stories, whether it's the ones I write and tell or the ones I help other people write and tell. I'm new here on YouTube, and I fully embrace the notion of energetic reciprocity. So if anything I say resonates, helps you in some way, I would really appreciate the likes, shares, and subscribes, because the more I can grow this channel, the more people I can reach, the more I can do in my quest to heal the world through stories. Because as I always say, stories can heal the world, so let's do it together. And of course, I will continue to give back to you as best I can in future videos, because I truly do want to help you write. So today I'm going to do a video that's a little bit different from others I've done in the past. I have some cryptic notes that I'm going to be following, but this one will be a lot less scripted than others that I have done, and so you may notice a lot more ums as I speak. I will do my best to be conscious of those. You'll probably also see lots of pauses while I'm thinking about how I want to say what I want to say. But I've had a lot on my mind recently about writing, about my own future as a writer, and about my business as someone who helps people write. And I have all these ideas that may seem very disparate as I go through them, but I think if you can stick with me through the end of this video, you'll see how they all come together and what it is that I'm wanting to get across. I am a person who I best process things by talking about them. And while writing does that for me to some degree, there are certain things that I just have to say out loud, and it really helps when I know that someone is listening to me and when I'm speaking to someone. And so I thought, all right, why not do this on a video where I'm speaking to you? So I'm imagining you on the other side of this, hearing what I'm saying. And so I appreciate in advance your patience as I kind of talk through these points and work to pull them together by the end, because they are all very connected, and they relate not just to my writing and my business as a writing teacher, but also to how I can better help you in the future. So here we go. I'm also not planning to edit this by the end. I just want to record this, get it up there, and let it be what it is without intercepting. So to start off, I would like to share something that's been happening recently for the past couple of weeks that I really feel has some significance, and I just find it very fascinating. So for days, probably close to 2 weeks, I've been hearing this sound outside my window. And it's a bird call, and I would hear it, and it made me think about my childhood, because it's a sound, it's a bird call that I used to hear a lot as a kid. And to me, it's a lovely sound, and it brings up lots of good feelings for me when I think about it. And I would just listen to it and wonder, what kind of bird is that? Because I really don't know birds. I wish I did. After this experience I'm going to share with you, I will probably start to explore birds a lot more, because I really think something very fascinating just happened. So a few days ago, a couple of days ago, 2 or 3 maybe, I heard this sound again. And I thought, okay, I'm going to go to my window, the one window in my apartment where I live. And I wanted to see if I could spot where this sound was coming from. Lo and behold, I get to the window and I see that it's sitting outside on the ledge, right outside my window. And I thought, oh, I hope it doesn't see me, because I thought it was really a beautiful little bird. And I'll put a picture of it so you can see it. So I will do that. Maybe as I say things as I'm going through this, I will put an image or something that I refer to so that you can just have a visual of what I'm speaking of. But that's the only editing I'll be doing. I'll just be adding things. So I see this bird sitting there, and I thought it was very beautiful, and I thought, oh, I hope it doesn't see me and fly away, because I wanted to really watch it. And then it noticed me, and instead of flying away, it kept tipping its head side to side, just kind of watching me. And so I started to talk to it, and instead of scaring it, it sidestepped closer to me and started making this lovely sound that it makes. And it was so beautiful. I was very touched by it. And then my kitty Iris, I don't know if I've talked about her much in my videos, but she's my little feline familiar, and I just love her with all my heart. She came over and joined us, and so the three of us just sat here together, kind of looking at each other, with this bird making this amazing sound. And then finally it took off and went somewhere else. And so I thought, all right, I feel like this means something, and I wanted to figure out first what kind of bird it was. And if you know birds, you know from the picture that it's a mourning dove, and not mourning like M-O-R-N-I-N-G, it's M-O-U-R-N-I-N-G. It's a mourning dove, and I looked into the symbolism, and the one that was outside my window is a girl. It's a lady mourning dove. And I looked into the symbolism of this bird, and I was really impressed by what that symbolism is and how it fits into some things that are happening in my life. So I want to share that with you. And this does tie into me talking about writing and writing practice and how I can help you and others in the future. So the first thing I found about this bird is that it symbolizes the end to a difficult time. So there's hope and freedom associated with it. And when I read that, I kind of laughed and thought, well, which difficult time? Is this yesterday? Is this the past couple of years that we've all experienced, 2-3 years now? Is this the last 2 decades that I devoted to teaching college as an adjunct? I've talked about this in other videos, how not a great choice, which I hadn't stuck with it for as long as I did. Financially, it was not a great decision. So trying to rebound from that has really been trying. It's been a big challenge for me. And then I thought, well, is this my whole life it's talking about? Because I just feel like life in general has been a struggle. And I know it is for everybody. But I'm just really, lately I've been, thinking how I want to leave this realm and what I want to experience before that happens. And I just want to know a certain kind of peace that I've never known before. And so that this bird showed up, I felt like she showed up for me. And so I'm really embracing this idea that maybe the hard times are going to be behind me to a large degree. And I want to say, as I talk through this video and talk about different things that I'm thinking about and putting together in terms of how I want to do my business moving forward, I would love it if you would offer your comments about where you are, if anything resonates. What I'm not asking for is advice about how to do things. I am on my own path. I am figuring it out. So please don't offer me advice about how to do my business better or differently, how to be a better person, how to look at things differently than I'm expressing in this video. Because if you do that, I will likely remove you from my list. And if that sounds like a bitchy thing to you, then so be it. But to me, it's just me setting a boundary. And I feel the need to do that because I think we all know the world is in need of healing. And so many people have hopped on this spiritual coach, life coach bandwagon. And while, granted, I know there are really good ones out there who are doing a lot of good, there are also a lot of them who are harming people and they have no boundaries, and they cannot just accept someone's view of life, someone's story, and say, thank you for sharing that with me. They have to interject with their own self-absorbed, kind of limited life experience viewpoint. And I just think it's very destructive, and it pisses me off. I don't appreciate it. I don't want it. And so that is that for that digression. There may be a few more as I talk, but love to have your comments about where you are personally if you want to share that. So back to this beautiful bird that I saw on my window ledge. It also means that they are considered to be connectors to the spirit realm. And so I thought this was very interesting because, as some of you know, I've been doing some genealogy work and looking at my ancestral line, and because I've been wanting to get dual citizenship so that I can move to Italy and be a citizen. Recently found out that that's not possible for me, not in that way anyway, because my great-grandfather did in fact become naturalized in before 1912, which is the seemingly to me arbitrary year. That's the cutoff. So I'm looking into different types of visas I can get so that I can be there for longer periods of time, and perhaps eventually indefinitely. So that's where that is. But it just made sense to me that this lovely, beautiful lady bird would show up outside my window at this point in my life. And this bird, you know, because it is about hope at the end of a difficult time, it represents good luck. And because they often appear at the end of like growing periods or trials that we've experienced. So it marks a new point, a new chapter in life. And I am so ready for that. Like, I can't even tell you how ready I am for that. And, you know, some view this as the bird representing like the goodness that's to come. All right. So that is perfect for me. You know, the good luck, all of it, the new beginnings, really good timing considering where I am with me completely rethinking my business. And I'll explain why I'm doing that in just a while. But okay, I want to now, this beautiful bird that showed up for me also kind of ties into where we are with the energies from in the cosmos right now. So some things that are going on with the planets. And we are in eclipse season. And so I wrote to my email list last week about the full moon that happened on January 25th. It was a full moon lunar eclipse in Libra. And so as I mentioned to the people on my email list, the way I view this is, so Libra to begin with is all about relationships. And when I tie this to writing and writing practice, what I was sharing with them is when I work with people and in my own life as well, I don't view writing as something that is separate from us, something we do. I think it is something that we are. And I think that our relationship with our writing practice exemplifies or actually is our relationship with ourselves. So how we treat it, how often we do it, how much we honor it, I think shows how much we honor ourselves. And so that new moon, full moon eclipse was all about really kind of thinking about relationships and perhaps eclipsing certain things, maybe things that get in the way of our practices, and really checking in with ourselves about where we are with our own practice. Okay, so then as of yesterday, April 1st, and I will say this, segue again, digression. I was going to create and post this video yesterday, but I didn't because I really, really don't like April 1st. It's so steeped in tricking people and pranks and practical jokes, and I just really hate that. I don't think it's a good way to be in the world, and I'm very much a mean what I say what I mean kind of person, and so yeah, I just kind of laid low yesterday. The only thing of significance that I did was I had an appointment with my accountant to go over my taxes, and I left there thinking, wow, if only that could have been a joke, because not a good tax year for me. So it is what it is, but I came home and it wasn't just because of that. It's just because I have shared in some videos I have a chronic illness, and if you have one, you know that someday there are some days that come along that we don't get to decide how they're going to look. And so I came home after that appointment and just spent most of the day lying on my lovely blue velvet love seat that I'm sitting on right now, and just lay there and looked at the sky and pondered things and napped and just took it easy. And so I'm back today to kind of pull all these things together that I've been thinking about and putting together. So in addition to this eclipse, we're now in a Mercury retrograde, which started yesterday, and it's in Aries. And to me, this is important because Aries, as you know, it's ruled by Mars. And so it's this very fiery, forward-moving, action-taking energy. But then we're in a retrograde that's, slowing things down. And so what we might be feeling like is a lot of tension, and we might feel this more as it progresses. So it's a lot like putting on the gas and pressing the brake at the same time. So gas pedal, brake pedal, all at once. Or maybe imagine a blazing bonfire and a roaring downpour all at once. So contrasts in energy. And so and then we have this new moon solar eclipse coming up on the 8th. And so we're in this, what I like to think of as like an eclipse sandwich. So if we can think of ourselves and our creativity and our writing as the goo, or the yummy, tasty ingredients that fit between these two eclipses, I think it can be a big help in just kind of allowing ourselves to go with it and let whatever is going to happen, happen. And so just to be more malleable and let things flow. And I think what I will do is also make 2 other short videos about this eclipse and go into a little more depth about how we can use them. And then also this Mercury retrograde in Aries. And so then I will put the links to those at some point in this video. So like I said, I will be adding things along the way that you can click to after the fact. Okay, so considering these planetary configurations and the appearance of the mourning dove that showed up for me, it's really exciting to me because, like I said, I've been giving a lot of thought to my business and how I want to move forward. And I'll start with this. I recently lowered the price for my new membership group. So it happens, you can either sign up for 1 evening a week or 1 morning a week. So it's a Wednesday evening or Saturday morning, or you can do both. So if you want to meet once a week, it's $18 a month. If you want to meet twice a week, it's $28 a month. And I'll tell you in a minute why I lowered it. And I'll put a link to it also in the description so you can check it out and see if maybe it's something for you. But basically, it's a silent virtual writing circle. And we just get together and we don't speak and we write together. And so if you are a person who has trouble sometimes maybe showing up for your writing and, excuse me, wants at least 1 or 2 steady times a week that you can write and have community. That's another part of it. It's about creating community with other writers. You might want to check it out. It might be something for you. And I'll throw this in. There's also this founding members price is what this new price is. And I'm going to keep it in place for a while. I'm not sure how long. And that means you get it at this price for the lifetime of your membership. And so you get everything that comes along after this. So any new content I add to the group, it's all yours for the same price. Forever and ever until you cancel. Okay. When I lowered the price, I heard these voices in my head. And it was very interesting. And I quickly knew what they were coming from. And, you know, it didn't impact what I was doing. It just kind of made me smile. But, you know, back to these kind of self-proclaimed gurus, the spiritual coaches that I was talking about earlier that really have really sloppy boundaries. I have also been told in the past that the way I price certain things, have priced certain things, is too low. Or that I do this because I don't have enough self-confidence, or that I don't believe in my offerings. And I will tell you right now that that is just absolutely a big, giant bucket of bullshit, because I'm very confident about what I do. I know I'm damn good at what I do. And I haven't always known why, but that's part of what this video is about that I've been putting together. And I'm not out to like just take people's money. And of course I need to make a living, but there are ways to do that and not gouge people and not overprice things. And I see that a lot these days. And when I have taken this approach that I'm now going to take, I've been told that, you know, like I said, I lack motivation, I lack confidence, that I'm working from the scarcity mindset, and that's not it. There are many different, I think those things that coaches tell people have become just so rote and so ingrained in them that's kind of like their catchphrases. They are the thing to say to people when they're doing things in a way that maybe don't agree with them. But I don't want to be pigeonholed like that. I don't want to be dismissed. And so I'm going to do things my way. No more masterminds for me. No more business coaches. No more expensive coaching programs. Like, I'm going to sort this out on my own. And I'll share more in a bit with you what I'm thinking about that. And what I have discovered about myself, what I've known all along, but now feel perfectly okay just doing it. So why I lowered the price. As I said, I've been rethinking my entire business. And I want to share as much as I know now about why I'm going to do things differently. So I have discovered recently that I am not a launcher. And by that I mean I am not a person who can launch a new offering and make thousands of dollars in one day or night. And, you know, I can already hear people, oh, don't sell yourself short. No, the reality is that I am not made that way. I have a chronic illness. I cannot commit to 5 to 7 days of this hardcore grind where I am on and I'm teaching and I'm just giving. I need more time than is allowed with that model to recoup afterwards. And I'm not willing to wear myself out to do it, because then I wind up flat on my love seat staring out the window, which there's nothing wrong with that. But I have to temper for me where that balance is and consider what I want to accomplish in life. So I learned this recently about myself, that I'm not a launcher, after spending $2,000 more on yet another program that would teach me how to create digital courses, which I already knew how to do, how to grow my email list, not sure I heard anything new, and how to make millions of dollars. So first of all, making millions of dollars is not my goal. I mean, if I did that, I would not squawk. I would gladly accept it, but I sure wouldn't keep it all for myself, and I wouldn't be spreading it around online. And, you know, I just am looking for a comfortable life. Like I said before, I have to make a living, and I want to be able to do what I'm on this earth to do and make a living doing that, and not partition myself off so that I can do some other kind of work on the side that just doesn't feed my soul, right? That's what I would love for everybody. I want to be financially free enough that I don't have to live in fear of not being able to take care of myself, of not being able to have good health care, fear of living in a culture that, is always, lately it seems, striving to take things away from us, and many, many, many other things. But I've been going back through my mind all the things I've been told by coaches. One of them that is, I think, interesting is, just be who you are. And then in the next breath, oh, wait, whoa, not like that. And so again, it's more of that gas pedal, brake pedal mentality. And it's been very confusing to me. And for a while, I trusted these so-called experts. And then, I've just realized, like, they don't get me. I'm a person that they don't understand. So I know this now. I can no longer separate me and myself from my business, from my work. And, like I said, I've worked with these so-called experts, and I've been told I should be authentic and show myself. But then overtly and covertly, they have told me, oh, don't do that. You don't want to turn people off. But I think I do want to turn people off, because if I turn them off, then that means they're not for me. If I don't turn them off, if I know they get me, then we should be working together in some way. So I don't want to pretend. I don't want to hold, try and come off as if I hold a particular set of ideals or morals or a belief system. Or stay silent about my own. That's been a lot of it. Like, oh, you shouldn't share that. That's too much. I just am not interested in being palatable enough that I can reach the masses. And, we're often told in business courses about and masterminds that, really, one second, my battery is about to die on my phone. This is what's great about doing this and not editing. Okay, there we go. Where was I? Oh, yes. I've been told that we need to discover who our ideal client or avatar is. And I don't like either of those terms. I don't know what I prefer, but in me trying to be authentic and be me, and being then told by these people, oh, no, don't do it like that, it has prevented me from finding my ideal people, the people I am meant to work with. But I feel like that's about to change. And I think a lot of times, it is, we are told, just be yourself. But then we're also told, oh, but do it this way so that you can get people's money. They don't say it in so many words, but that's what it is. And that just feels gross to me. Like, I don't want to be something I'm not, to pretend to be someone I'm not, just so that I can get you to buy my stuff. That feels out of integrity to me, and I'm not going to do it. So I want to work with people who I get and who get me. And I'm not going to hide my politics. If I had my way, Marianne Williamson would be our next president. I am not going to hide my spiritual practices. I'm a practicing witch. I'm not Wiccan. I consider myself more pagan. I don't like to put labels on it. I'm not here to teach people about that. I'm not here to debate that. I am not here to defend it. It's just what I am. And it will show up in my videos and in the work I do with people. I also do not want to hide my likes and dislikes. And we don't necessarily have to agree on all of those. But I'm just not interested in walking this fine line that doesn't make sense to me, or in being, I think the term is milquetoast, maybe, if I understand the meaning of that word, or staying neutral, seeming neutral, because I am the most unneutral person. yeah, I just don't want to do any of that. So as I'm saying this, I'm hearing a song in my head. And I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I will, after the fact, like I said, I will see if I can find it. I'm thinking of a particular version of this song too. And I will link to it above. If you don't see a link up there to access it, I will put it in the description. But go listen to it. And then when you listen to it, think about me and think about yourself moving forward. I think it's a great song. It's a good message for us to carry with us as we go about our life and do our writing and create whatever kind of life it is that we want. So here's what I know right now. People like me, and I'm talking about empaths, intuitives, HSPs, highly sensitive people, people who are neurodivergent in some way, we need a lot of safety. And we need emotional safety, we need mental safety, we need energetic and physical safety. We need that to be able to fully function in the world. And the world we live in does not provide that for us. So add to that we live in this world that doesn't provide this for us, to layers of trauma that we've maybe experienced, that the world has foisted on us because we've been misunderstood, because the world's not made for us. And who knows, however other many traumas that we have each experienced, you know, we're in survival mode a lot of the time. And when we are doing our best to mask, to cover, to self-regulate, it takes a lot of energy. And we're often exhausted just trying to live. And so trying to do things like writing or building a writing practice, you know, regardless of what we write, and to do it on a regular basis, actually build a practice, means finding or creating that necessary safety. So whether we're trying to build a business or trying to build a writing practice, and I did say the word trying. I had somebody tell me once, don't use the word try, and then they quoted Yoda to me. And I'll come back around to that. I have some feelings about that. There are people in the world who don't understand people like us. So if you are someone like me who is highly sensitive and intuitive and wired in a very particular way in your brain, you may have experienced some of these things I have. So people talking to me like I'm a child. Those of us who are wired in these ways, who are tuned in like we are, we see everything all at once, everywhere we go, all the time. And we not only feel all of our complex emotions that we have from living like this, being this kind of person, we also feel everyone else's. And it's a lot. And so oftentimes we are quiet. That is how we regulate. That is how we cope. And so I found that a lot of people who can't shut the fuck up take my quietness anyway as, they view me as sort of childlike, I think. They speak to me that way anyway. They view me as stupid, someone who doesn't know much. And as I've gotten older, they talk to me like I'm an old person who's out of touch. And I'm thinking right now about Susan Cain's book called Quiet, and I think the subtitle is something like How to Be an Introvert in a World That Can't Stop Talking. It's a great book. It's very dense. It's loaded with all kinds of research that she did and just different perspectives about being a quiet person in the world. And so to all of those people who have told me that I am, so get this, not only am I too quiet, I'm also too intense, too negative, too angry, and just too much. So everyone who has talked to me that way, and to you, I say this on your behalf too, they can all honestly just fuck right off as far as I'm concerned. Because I will talk more in just a second about this holding seemingly conflicting things at one time. Because I think there is something to this, what I'm talking about here, about not just for my business, but us as writers and us as neurodivergents, as intuitives, as empaths. It's been suggested to me because I am a person, I pull no punches, I call things as they are. I have been told that I am negative at times, and that maybe I just need to be more grateful. And so I want to speak to that for a minute, because it is connected to all of these things I'm talking about in terms of the future of my business and writing practice for all of us. So people who are wired like this, I think we are grateful for the smallest of the small things. We may not share that, and I don't think we have to. I don't think we have to prove anything to anybody, as long as we know it. But like I said, because we see everything, I think many of us just tell it like it is. Because we don't, well, speak for me, I don't have time to hem and haw. Like, I have this kind of do it or don't kind of approach to life. And many people in the world don't want to see what's real, and they just want to take this don't worry, be happy, you know, you should be more grateful kind of attitude. And I think that they would rather call us negative so that they can feel superior. I think they would rather give advice so that they can feel superior. But here's the news flash. Those of us who are wired in a particular way, who view the world in a particular way, because that's just how we're made, we can hold starkly contrasting states of mind and feelings all at the same time, all at once. We can simultaneously adore certain individuals and absolutely loathe humanity. We can despise where we live, like I do. I'm talking general. I live in a city. There's too much noise. I need to get out of the city. We can despise where we live and yet find the little joys every single day, like that mourning dove that came to my window, like my blue velvet love seat I'm sitting on, like this amazing pillow that my son gave me. You know, we can be grateful for lots of things. We don't need to broadcast it and prove it. And we have the right to call things out when we feel they're not working for us. And so I think we can also feel timid because the world sucks and wasn't made for us. We can feel protective of ourselves. We can at the same time feel this bravado inside ourselves because we know what we're capable of, right? We are complex that way. And that is why we are writers. So I think these people who want to criticize, who don't understand us, they're speaking from a certain kind of privilege that I've never enjoyed. I don't know if it's financial privilege. I don't know if it's brain wiring privilege, or maybe it's a lack of certain kinds of trauma. Or maybe they're speaking from their own fear. I honestly think it's probably more fear. And of course, that's for them to work out. But I'm saying all this because I am now understanding that much of what I have been unwittingly compartmentalizing, that other people have told me, oh, no, don't go there. Those are the very things that make me damn good at what I do. And I think that's why growing a business has been a struggle for me. And so I'm not going to allow myself to work with other people for quite a long time until I sort some of these things out for myself. Because what's more important to me is that I find my people so that I can help them in the best ways I can. So I do know this. I am adept at creating calm and safety for people. That is my superpower. Right? So anybody can learn how to write and teach you the steps and give you the others, all the stuff that goes along with writing. But not everyone can create the kind of space I create. And so I want to elaborate a little bit more on what I mean by that. I had palm reader and other divinators of different kinds over the years tell me that I open portals for people. And I've known this, but yeah, I'm not supposed to be talking about it in the ways that I want to talk about it, but I'm going to from here on out. I have been told throughout my life when people have had one-on-one interactions with me that I bring this quiet calm to our conversation. And at the same time, they have felt pulled off their matrix. So again, it's those seemingly conflicting states of being, right? And for a while, I didn't understand like what it is I was doing because I was just showing up as me. And what I've seen over the years in my life and in working with people is that in both my personal and professional lives, is that I am a catalyst. And I can take people to places within themselves that they have never visited. And I don't do this intentionally. It's just because I live in that place. And so automatically, if you are around me, you're going to go there too, or you're going to flee. And so for that reason, this has been a gift and a curse for me. And it kind of mirrors this gas brake pedal energy that I was talking about, right? And maybe that's why I'm having this revelation that the way I need to be speaking about what I do is becoming very clear to me. And maybe it's because we're in that same kind of energy right now with these planetary configurations that I mentioned earlier. So this is a gift because when I do find people that want to embrace this and are brave enough to go to these places inside them that they've never been, what happens is amazing. And I think in a bit, I want to share some stories about students that I've worked with and kind of some breakthroughs that they've had to kind of put into context what I'm talking about. But this is a curse when, and especially in my business early on, it was a curse because, you know, I was figuring out, well, who are my people? And people would kind of come up to me and say, oh, I want to work with you, but they weren't my people. And they didn't have the courage to go where I was attempting to take them so that they could write in this very particular kind of way. And so then they either wouldn't do the work, which was frustrating. Some of them would blame me for them not doing the work. And I'm like, you know, I didn't say this in so many words, but it's basically, I can't show up at your house and put your ass in the chair. Like, you have to do that. And I do have compassion for that. I believe that it is that fear that I was mentioning that keeps people from, you know, getting their ass in the chair sometimes. And then personally, it's been the same, like these people that, ooh, give me what you got. You know, I want some of that magic that you have. And then when they realize that, oh shit, I'm going to have to go where she goes, then they flee. And so I've seen a lot of grief in my life, and there's been like a lot of this kind of revolving door of people coming in and out and in and out. And I'm not saying this like boo-hoo, woe is me. I've accepted that, and I know how to deal with it and set certain boundaries for myself. But it's all part of this weird yet lovely kind of magic that I have. And I love it about myself. Like, I don't want to be any different. I don't want to tamp it down. I don't want to water it down. I don't want to hide it. In fact, I want to embolden it. I want to make it bigger. Because I think when I do that, then I'm going to find my people. I'm going to find the right people now. And if you're following me now and you're one of them, thank you for understanding and for knowing that we're a good match. I cannot teach people how to do this, how to open these portals in people directly like I do, because it's just kind of part of me. You know, I think I was born with it. I came in with it. But here's the cool thing. Here's where it comes into play when I work with you. Not only can I create a really safe place for you that will take you to places that surprise you. When you go to those places and you're able to write from those places and then write stories that touch people in those places, you are opening portals. Pretty cool, yeah? So I am the conduit. I am the conduit. And like I've said, even as I'm talking through this, I can tell things are falling into place for me. And especially more recently, some really wild revelations about my brain wiring that I don't know enough about it yet to share them here, but I will at some point talk more about that. Because again, I want to meet more of my people, and I want people to know they're not alone, and I want to not feel so alone. And so I'm very excited right now about what's coming. When I work with people, I will say this, I do what I do with love and compassion and safety, as well as pragmatism. And so when I was teaching college and after raising 3 kids, I coined this term called compassionate pragmatism. And, you know, for those of us who see everything and are no nonsense, we don't dress things up. We say it like it is. And I do that when I work with people, but I temper it with so much empathy and compassion. And so people understand what I'm saying and they feel seen and respected at the same time. And so now I would like to give you a few examples of people that I've worked with and how this has shown up. So one of them is a student of mine. This was years ago, like during the recession. And I remember that because he was a student who was in his 40s. And he was one of those people who had lost his job and was coming back to school to get a degree in something else. And, you know, a lot of the writing classes, most of the time, the writing classes I taught were required classes. And so people were in there who didn't want to be in there. And they told me that freely. They just want to let me know, like, I don't want to be here. And so my challenge, and I was up for it, was to create a space for them to feel understood. Like, yeah, I get you don't want to be here, yet you have to be. And making it be the best possible experience I could for them. I don't want them to hate showing up to my class every day. And not out of an ego thing, but I'll be honest about this. I wanted them to learn to love writing. But I didn't want to be the thing in their life that made their life feel sucky, you know? So I really worked hard to create a rapport with students and make it fun, even though it was something they didn't want to do. And Mark, I think he exemplifies why a lot of people don't want to write. And I'll tell you a story right now. In my class, on the first day of class, I would always give this assignment: write a 2-page essay on either why I want to write or why I don't want to write. And he, of course, chose why he didn't want to write. And when I read his essay, it just kind of broke my heart. And he wrote about when he was 8 years old, he lived in a different state than his grandma, and he didn't know her. And he wanted to get to know her, and he wanted a relationship with her. And so he wrote to her and told her who he was, what he liked to do, what his hobbies were, who his friends were. And he's very excited when he got an envelope back from her, and then crushed when he opened it. She was an English teacher, and he saw that she had scribbled all over his letter with red ink. And I just thought, like, I imagined this 8-year-old boy, just what that must have felt like and how crushed he must have been. And I just can't stand that. And to know that there are people who are being squashed and don't want to use their words in a way that could really impact the world and themselves. So after that, I had a talk with him, and we made a deal. And I told him that I would not use red pen on his papers. And in fact, I never used red pen. I think back then I either used turquoise or purple, something more fun. And I told him, if I write on your paper, it will only be to compliment you, or it will be to make a suggestion about how to improve your already good writing. And he agreed to keep showing up and give it his best. And we both held up our ends of the deal. And I'm happy to say that after 10 weeks, because I only had them for 10 weeks at a time, he left my class smiling about writing and told me he was going to do it more. And so I'm sharing these stories not to share the pats on the back or not to say, oh, look at what I did. It's to show you that this way I have of working with people, this transformation that is possible, that I've seen in them, that to me is the win. When I see a transformation in a person that occurred because they are writing, that to me is gold. That's why I'm here in this video on this earth. All right. I have another story I want to share with you about Brandon, who is another student, came a few years after Mark. Brandon was a tough guy. He was a problem child, as I used to call them. He sat in the problem child seat. Most of them sat, as I learned, center of the room, very back row. This gives them full view of me, so they can size me up, look me up and down, check me out. He would sit there rolling his eyes, arms crossed, like, I'm not going to do this. And it went on enough that one day I asked him to stay after class, and I talked to him, and just in so many words, I was like, what the hell's going on? Like, what is your problem? And, you know, I was nicer than that, obviously, but it was irritating. And I just let him know, like, you cannot bring that energy into my classroom because it seeps into everything, and it's not helpful. It's harmful to what I'm trying to do here and why other people in the class are here. And he just grumbled, and he told me, well, I'm just, you know, this was a community college, and he said, well, I'm just here to be an auto mechanic. I don't need to know how to write. And so I told him, like, writing is about a whole lot more than syntax and the perfect words and punctuation and everything looking perfect on the page. And, you know, and I said, you have a couple of choices. I said, you can show up to my class with a different attitude, and because we're kind of stuck with each other, so why not make the best of it? Or you can drop my class and take it another term with someone else and have to do the same thing. So he came back, he kept coming back, and then a really cool thing happened. For his last essay, he wrote about his sister, and and this had happened a few years prior to him being in my class, and she was also a college student, and she was going to school in a different town, and she had been home visiting for the weekend. And he wrote about how when she was driving back home, she was in a fatal car accident. And so he wrote about this in such a raw and real way. And I will never forget, he wrote about the sound of his mom's scream when she got the phone call, and, you know, what losing his sister had done to their family. And I was so touched by it and so proud of him, you know, for being so freaking brave. And so I wrote that on his essay. I just said, thank you for trusting me. Thank you for being brave enough. And I said, this is what writing is about. And, you know, his essay wasn't perfect mechanically or maybe even structurally, but I gave him an A because he went there, he did it. And I wanted him to know that he did it, that's the thing. And then the last day of class, he waited until everyone else had left, and he came up to me and he thanked me, and he said, thanks for not giving up on me. And he said, I'm sorry I was so difficult in the beginning, and I know I haven't been the easiest person to teach, but yeah, he said, I just wanted you to know that I appreciate what you did. And I'm always really, you know, grateful when students take the time to do that, especially those that we've had, if we've kind of locked horns, and they've had an insight. Like, a lot of people would just leave and not want to be that humble and that vulnerable. And then I want to close with a couple things about the guys that I work with at the prison where I teach. So I mention always in my intro that I teach fiction and screenwriting to adults in custody. And, you know, talk about gratitude. Some of the purest, forms of gratitude I have ever seen have been in that prison. And if you ever want to experience some really authentic, touching, honest moments, like, visit a prison, spend some time in there. And it's really been kind of a remarkable experience for me. They're so grateful that they just can't believe that people will take the time. And I'm not the only one that comes out there to do this, but they're just sometimes kind of in disbelief that people will take time out of their lives to come out there and talk to them. And it just really shows at how we marginalize people who've made mistakes and punish them. And they're just so grateful, and I just adore working with them. So a couple things I want to share. One of the guys, they oftentimes show up to my class saying, I have no idea how to do this. This is scary. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. But I tell them, well, that's why you're here, and we're going to sort it out. And to then see them put things together and start creating stories, and to have like a finished film script in their hand, you can tell it just means the world. And one of them recently told me that I'm a doula for creativity, and he said, you just have this way of creating a space where it can just flow, and they're always thanking me for it. And like I said, I don't do this for the thank yous, but it's so like meaningful to me to see this light go on. But I do want to share one story in particular about someone who came to my class only once and then didn't come back. And I was a little worried because, they deal with a lot. A lot of times they want to take the class, but they're dealing with their own inner struggles. They're dealing with the struggles with the system that really doesn't want to help them for the most part, aside from a few individuals here and there. They have their issues with like family stuff going on, legal stuff. They're dealing with a lot, and that any of them can get anything on the page in that environment just kind of blows me away. And this particular person, he said, he came back, he was wheeling in a current student who was in a wheelchair because he had tripped and hurt his ankle. And this previous student wheeled him in, and then he said, I just wanted to thank you. He said, I know I didn't come back to your class, but I just wanted to tell you that I'm still writing. And just from that one day in your class, it's still writing, and it's changing my life. And I said, that's what I like to hear. I'm so happy. And yeah, no need to apologize or explain. Like, I'm glad it helped. And then he said, I felt like I was living from here up. And he was kind of struggling to find his words. And he said, now feel like I'm starting to live from here up. And he like put his hands down by his hips. And so he was motioning to like his root chakra area. And I knew exactly what he was saying to me. And he said, it's just changing my view of myself and so many things. And he said, I really think it's changing my life. And he said, and my wife and son wanted me to thank you. And like I told them, I always tell them, oh my gosh, it's you. It was always in there. But he said, no, you just said some things that day that shifted things for me and has allowed me to do this. And the thing that got me so much then is he said when his son and his wife visit, he said they are just so happy to come see the person that he is now. And he said, and then my son the other day said to me, Dad, I've been waiting for you. And again, it's that transformation that can happen that is so, I know it and I trust it, but it's so, every time I see it, astounding and stunning to witness. And so I just wanted to share that. I wanted to give some context to all this kind of blathering I've been doing about I've been thinking how to position myself and my business so that I can find absolutely the right people. And I need to talk about it in a different way, I know, than the way I've been taught to do it. And so yeah, I can help you write from places that you haven't visited within yourself before. And like I said, I want to reiterate, I'm a practicing witch and astrology matters to me. So you'll be seeing more of that in future videos. And I really do believe that, you know, as above, so below. And I think when we can tune into what's happening in the cosmos and apply it to our daily lives and our writing practices, I think it can really, really help us. So I want to circle back now to the mourning dove. And, you know, the mourning dove, it is an indicator of a time of sorrow and grief. But like I said, they do embody hope and recovery. And because grief doesn't disappear, right? It stays with us. And we just learn we have it in certain places in us where we keep it safe. And we manage it when it springs up unexpectedly again, because it does do that, right? And we learn to work with it and embrace it and just appreciate the cycle that grief is. And, you know, the mourning dove also is about the ability to discover beauty amidst adversity. And so it's again that those opposing, seemingly opposing things. It's seeing the beauty, seeing the adversity, not being afraid to call out the adversity or the so-called negative, finding the beauty in it and speaking to all of it, not hiding any of it, not toning it down, you know, because it's all human experience. That's why we write, to make meaning of life. And so I don't know about you, but I'm really ready for that. I'm so ready I'm ready to turn a corner, a page, start a new chapter, whatever metaphor we want to use, and just really have some good times after some really rough times. The past 3 years, for me, the past 2 decades, like I said, parts of my whole freaking life, I'm really ready for something different. And maybe by me saying this here to you and broadcasting it to the world will make it so. And I want to leave you with one last thing. Someone that I love very, very much said to me recently. We're having one of our very long conversations, and he told me he's just really working on finding joy in all kinds of places and all kinds of things. And he said that he's watched me do it. And he said, I've seen that no matter what happens to you, no matter what's going on with you, you always find joy and you always look forward and you're always excited about what you're creating and what's next. And he said, you're like the fucking sun. And I just thought it was very, very sweet. And I am really proud to be thought of as the fucking sun. And so that's what I want to be for you in your writing life. And I want to be that for myself in my life. I want to be the fucking sun. And because we as writers, we as complex individuals, we know there is no separation between life experiences. If that sounds like something that you would like to be surrounded by and infused with, then I hope you will join me in whatever way feels right to you. You know, you can, if you haven't subscribed to this video and it resonates with you, please subscribe. You know, I am new here, like I said, on YouTube. I have a goal for April. I want to, my channel, last time I looked, I had 71 subscribers. My goal is for the end of April to have 100. Because the more subscribers I have, the more I can do with this channel. You know, when you have a small following, you don't have as much reach. Not just because you don't have the numbers, but YouTube won't let you do certain things until you reach a certain number. So if you would help me grow this to 100 at least by the end of April, I'd be forever grateful. You can follow me on other social media channels. Just look for my name, Johnny Mazzacco. You can go to my website, get on my email list if you want. I forget now which free offering I have up there if you sign up for my list, but I'm always changing them. And so if you sign up for whatever is there now, when I have a new one, you will get that one as well. I always give people on my list every new thing that I create. But I would really love, if I resonate with you, if my beliefs, the way I work resonates with you, I would love to bring you into my fold of people who want to change the world with stories. I really do believe we can do massive, amazing things together, and that the world needs us. So thank you for listening to me go on about this. This has been a really important topic to me and something that's been on my mind. And I really believe now, after talking through this with you, that the words that I need are in here. And I think moving forward, I will be able to kind of recreate my brand so that I can present myself in a way that speaks to my people. And I'm happy that you're one of them. All right. As always, I send you mad writing mojo. Happy writing.